Folks, thanks for joining us for this edition of the Brand Central podcast. Joining us today is Joshua Ludlum, a speaker and coach, trained as a youth pastor. He brought his passion for speaking and educating to a sales role and has since supported small business owners in almost every aspect of business. And he's completed his MBA back in 2018 and then brought about the Exponential Evolution Program. Joining us now, Josh Ludlum. Josh, tell us a little bit about the Exponential Evolution Program.
Yeah, I thank you first of all, Mark, for having me. I started Exponential Evolution just because I realized that, there's a lot of tools that are out there for people starting their business. I mean, Google is just alive with, not Google, but you can Google any tool that you need and you can get it done. But so many people struggled with the mindset of implementing those things. And I think a lot of it came down to, this worked for one person, but will it work for me or not? And so the coaching that I do is really about helping to bring some tools that work for me, but to push people into the mindsets that are going to be able to allow them to use the tools, like, even the stuff that you're talking about. You want to get somebody who's trying to put together a program, who's trying to put together a podcast. Well, there's a lot of internal stuff that goes on that keeps us from actually getting that stuff out there. So the Exponential Evolution Program was about, number one, looking into myself, but also then turning that outwards to others. And that's where the exponential part of that comes from. So that's what that coaching kind of focuses on.
Yeah. And so your goal in the program is to get folks to that CEO mindset. All entrepreneurs are not cut out to be CEOs, huh?
Yeah. I think there's a difference between a business owner mindset and an entrepreneur mindset. And that entrepreneur mindset does typically lend towards the CEO mindset, as far as my estimation of that is concerned, anyway. So people might call themselves an entrepreneur when really what they mean is that I run a business, and those aren't necessarily the same thing.
Sure.
And so the CEO mindset is about looking for opportunity. It's about making sure that we're path for opportunity. And sometimes the business owner mindset is about more of a constrained, constraining the way that we run the business, where the CEO mindset is about at all costs, we're going forward. We've got a vision for where we're heading towards.
Sure. How are we coaching folks to kind of, number one, prepare for the windfall of opportunity? I just believe there's going to be a windfall of opportunity on the other side of this thing.
That is, to me, again, that you'll see businesses that will fall out of business during this time because they've got that business owner mindset. I've created a product. Here's the product. Here's how I offer that product. And the CEO mindset is going to look at this and go, yes, there's opportunity. And I don't know what it is right now, but we're in the preparation mode to get there, because at the end of this, it's highly unfortunate that first category exists, because there's going to be companies that won't be in business at the end of this. There are companies that are already, struggling. Yeah. So that CEO mindset is going to look for, how do we shift in this time, prepare for what stuff might go back to mostly normal. It's definitely not going back to all the way normal. Some of the new ways that you'll be thinking about serving your customers during that time. What are some of the new ways that you'll be looking at, because now there's more market share that's available because some of those businesses did go out of business? How are you going to serve those new customers that are waiting there for the products that are existing? I think that the way that I'm coaching and talking through with people currently is, be prepared for that opportunity and take that shift now. Even if you think everything's going to go back to exactly the way that it was, well, now you've got some new tools in your arsenal. Now you've got some new mindsets in your arsenal. Now you've got some new ways of reaching customers and serving customers in your arsenal. That's only going to expand the way that you come out of this.
Absolutely. I would imagine the biggest challenge, if you will, for you is that people hate change. I mean, we hate to change up anything. I mean, we've got our marketing plan, we've got our strategy, we've got our website, we've got our offerings. Now we got to change.
Yeah.
People hate to change, and even when it's to their benefit, to adapt.
Yep. Yep. You know, it is certainly the hardest thing that I have to work people through. And again, I believe that this is part of that CEO mindset. And it's about, I'm going to use a word, and some people are going to hear it and they're going to go, wait, you just said not to do this, but it's about surrender. And surrender is not the same thing as waving the white flag and giving up.
Right.
Surrender is saying very clearly, here is what is. This is the reality that's in front of us, and we're not going to gloss over it. Yes, there's opportunity, but there's also challenge, and I'm going to surrender myself to those challenges and not give up. Surrender is not resignment. It's not, laying over. It's saying, here it is. Okay. And to me, that mindset is a daily practice. It's not I'm very big on like a Stoic philosophy, and it's practicing for the Stoic philosophy is going through maybe not every scenario, because no one could have predicted what we're going through, not in its entirety.
Right.
And so it's not about necessarily having all of the answers, but it's preparing for that mentality of change. It's preparing on a daily. I have two coins that I carry with me. One says, remember you will die. That actually says memento mori. And the other says amor fati, which is the love of fate. And both of them says, one of them says, take action now. You're going to die. Take action now. The other one says, even the hard things, learn to love them. Because when you do, change becomes easy. It's not this thing of like, oh, we've got to make this huge shift. We've already adapted to it. We've already prepared for it. So it's a mindset of saying, of letting it go and just saying, okay, here we are. Now where are we going?
Right. I mean, are you finding that the biggest issue for a lot of your clients right now and entrepreneurs is the fear of the unknown? Just not knowing how long, how much, how often, if, when?
Yeah. I think it's always the fear of the unknown. I've been putting out some content over the past few weeks about the hero's journey. And if you know anything about the storytelling, Joseph Campbell, Dan Harmon talks about this as well. The hero's journey is that constant, or is that journey from what they know right now into the unknown. And yeah, it's a constant fear because, we don't know. But that hero is the one that will reluctantly or willingly, the one that does it willingly is the one that gets the benefits quicker, but the one that does it reluctantly, at least, is on that journey.
Right.
Will step into the unknown and will get comfortable with doing that, because that hero's journey, as you see from sequel after sequel, still has more to learn, still has the next thing to learn.
Right.
And so yeah, that practice of the unknown is definitely where people can grow, and it's definitely also the thing, it's where most people sit, is in that fear of the unknown. So it's normal and it's okay. And yes, if people will, and that's why I think, the other part of that hero's journey is the guide that helps you through the unknown. And so that's why I think that, during this time, looking at who's doing this well and using those guides to be able to get through it is a big benefit during this time too.
Huge. All right. So speaking of the unknown, you and I will grace the stage at Tedx DupreePark up in Woodstock, Georgia.
Yeah.
November 20th is the tentative date now, and I say tentative, and we're praying for it. But tell me a little bit about your journey to the TEDx stage. I mean, this was a major goal of mine for 2020. It was on my to-do list. I was going to find a way to get on somebody's TEDx stage, even if I had to run to an event and dive on stage myself. Tell me a little bit about your journey. Why was it important to you? And why'd you think, because it's all about having a message big enough to share with the world. Why did you think your message was important, and what was the journey like for you to get to TEDx?
When I started Exponential Evolution, it was about going into, it first started as a marketing and a sales concept. And I realized that boiled down underneath that marketing sales were the mindsets that I was bringing. And so as I continued my journey as a business owner, but also as a wannabe thought leader at the time of, what have I got that's worth anything? I was walking down the road one day in Woodstock, and I had this very clear vision of, in fact, it wasn't a vision. It was just like, it was as if I was walking along and as if I walked onto a TED stage, and in the next step, I was off of it. And it was so clear that I stopped for a second and I kind of looked around me and I was like, did that really happen?
Wow.
And then about 6 months later, I got a message saying that TEDx was coming to Woodstock. And it was just, if you've ever been in one of those situations where you just know that this is the thing that's meant for you, it was like, there was no doubt in my mind that what I had experienced and this opportunity were gonna match up.
Right.
And so yeah, it came down to that learned optimism that I found. I didn't grow up with a mindset of optimism at all. It was a very pessimistic mindset, a very pessimistic view of myself. And learning optimism has been one of the things that has freed me in every area of my life. And I just want other people to be able to have access to what a story like that looks like, that it can be learned.
Being optimistic, it seems, is much harder than just being mad about it.
It's also dangerous too. It's dangerous to be optimistic. Let's be realistic. The pessimism is a fear-based response that is baked into our DNA. It's how we've survived this long. And my belief is that we're past the point of us as a society needing to survive, and we're at a point where we get to thrive. And that fear-based mindset that looks at the pessimistic mindset exists because of my confirmation bias or my fear bias. And that when I see something bad happen, it's my alert to be in fear response. Right. That's great if I want to survive. If I want to thrive, though, that optimistic response of, yep, I see that fear. I see that thing that could cause fear. And I also see a way that's better. And so the optimistic mindset comes with its risks. It also comes with looking kind of foolish and stupid. I did tell people about that story about the TEDx stage that I just told you.
Yeah.
And also it felt really scary to do that, because now you gotta ante up. You gotta make it happen. Right. I had this vision, and here if it's 10 years later and I still haven't had the vision come true, well, I look kind of foolish, don't I? So it's that feeling that optimism is also carries with it. Well, you gotta take action now, and you gotta make these things happen. Otherwise, I kind of look like I was.
Right. Well, Josh,
on a lot of areas.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Tell folks where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm on Exponential Evolution, or excuse me, evolveexponentially.com. Exponential Evolution was taken. Evolveexponentially.com. I'm currently building some courses that are there. They can also find me if you go there. You can find my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, both of which I am loading with content as we're going through this. Those are getting a lot of content that's been on the back burner. But awesome. Evolveexponentially.com.
All right. We'll put a link to it down there in the description. So Josh Ludlum, best of luck to you, my friend. Let's keep praying for our TEDx date in November, and you and I will talk soon.
I look forward to it.
Absolutely. What a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mark.